there. You're listening to the Light FM's Girl Talk podcast. I'm Carol.
This is Alicia.
Hey, I'm Tricia.
And we are so glad you are here. And this episode is redemptive in some way, I hope.
Let's hope.
Because I sent you girls this picture the other day. We started talking about this. You actually came with the idea.
Yeah.
And then I found proof of it on my phone. But the other day, you said, I used to be so much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you say that?
Well, so when my kids were young, you know, we would go to the park or the playground.
Yeah.
And I was one of the moms who would get in there and play hide and seek and play around with them and swing and do all the things. And it was just fun, and they enjoyed it. And they're like, oh, Mom, that's fun. That's fun.
You were the cool mom.
Well, I was the one who got dirty, that's for sure. But here's the thing. I've stopped being that person.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, like when my kids want to play a game or even the family gets together to do a board game, I'm kind of like, well, I'm going to go in the room and I'm going to read.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a nap. I'm tired.
Is it because of COVID or is it because we're just older or like what?
You just flat out said it.
Thank you,
Is it
Alicia.
just because you're older?
Kids are older and we're all about the
We're
same
all
age.
going
so
the same
it's like,
direction.
Yeah, what are you attributing it to?
I think it's because I'm tired. I think I'm just tired. I'm busy all the time, and I feel like when I have a minute, what I want to do is retreat into a safe place like my warm, cozy bed and just kind of lick my wounds.
Or nachos.
Or eat nachos and watch Chopped.
Right.
Yeah, but are there are a lot of solitary activities instead of activities where I get to be with people and share experiences, and it makes me feel bad.
See, I think that's interesting because when I sent this picture. I don't know if Brian. I don't know if you can get that on the camera or not. But I don't know if you can see this.
It's one of your better pictures, Carol.
It actually, it really is. It's a picture of me. It's from 8 years ago. If you can see that, it's from 8 years ago, and it's me with. It says the only thing I will ever do to earn Mom of the Year points. So what was happening in this photograph is I let my then 5-year-old put a pie in my face. And we started talking about this, and I texted this to you girls and said, yep, there's proof of it. I used to be fun, too. But I think one of the things that we can attribute to is our kids change, too. My kid's at the point now where she's on the borderline of me being totally embarrassing and her liking me. Like, it's really a fine line. Like, I start singing. Like, she's like, please don't come up to the pickup line with the 80s blaring out of the car.
And of course, that's probably what you did.
It's exactly what I did. Yes, it's exactly what I did.
Okay.
And all her friends are like, she's like, oh, Mom, just play. You know? So I think part of it could be that. But I think there's another part, too, where we're getting older as our kids get older, and life is exhausting. Adulting is hard.
Well, and I like my alone time. You know, and especially in quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
we've
good point.
all been together all the time.
Yeah.
And some days I'm just like, you know, I look at my husband, I'm like, I need you to get out of the room because I need my quiet time. Like that's when we used to get up and go to school, like he would get up for we just had a different routine.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I have to fight for that quiet time now. I have to figure out like, okay, when are the kids entertained? When's the husband doing something? When can I actually, and when am I ready to go do something or read or have devotion or whatever?
You know, that is so true. Even like driving in the car, when you used to drive to work or drive to school or drive somewhere, we don't have it. So it has taken away a lot of our
I used to sit in the car sometimes. If I went to the grocery store, I would just sit in the parking lot for a few extra minutes.
I still do that.
I actually read a news story the other day where somebody called the cops because a woman was sitting in her car and they thought something was wrong, and they like went to her car and she was like, I've been in my house with my kids for so long that I just needed a quiet place.
I love her.
I know. I want to be her.
But we all can relate to that.
Right.
I mean, you know,
Well, I said this. We downsized a couple years ago, and we live in a smaller townhome, and it's like 1,200 square feet. I would have never done that if you'd have told me quarantine was coming up, because there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
There's like nowhere to go that somebody else isn't there.
Yeah.
And we have 2 puppies, so they follow you everywhere, and it's
they're
just
more
like,
needy now too.
oh gosh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're used to people being around more.
But here's another thing too that I find. I always thought I was like high extrovert, and I think I am. I get my energy from people, and I need to be around people. But the older I get, the more I find that when I have that time out with people and I'm high, it wears me out, and then I have to withdraw and kind of like refuel myself.
I went home last night and I told my husband, I'm like, there were a lot of us at the office yesterday, and that's the most people I had been around in a long time. I mean, we've been coming in the office, but not everybody's here every day.
Right.
And I was like, if I'm a little quieter tonight, it's because I've used up all of my talking and my thinking
Her people
today
bucks.
with people.
People dollars. My friend Whitney Cap, she writes books and she's so smart. And we said that one time. I was like, I am just so drained from people. She said, honey, you're out of people dollars.
Yeah. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's totally a thing. And I told you one time, we went to a conference together, and before we left, I said, okay, Alicia, I said, here's what's going to happen. We're going to go to this thing. We're going to have a great time. I said, but on the way back, I have to warn you, I'm probably not going to say 2 words. And she was
5-hour drive.
She was like, really? I go, yeah. I said, I'm processing.
Book.
And I'm going through everything, and I just, I don't have anything to give. It's just like
Carol Davis was silent for 5 hours. It is true.
That's because she was doing that.
It's true. She was like
for several
on fire,
hours ahead
talking
of
to
time.
people, everybody saying hi, and we're getting all this really great information for days. And then on the way home, it was.
And you even said, I'm so glad you told me that, because I would have thought, what in the world is wrong with her?
But I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It's important to know that we do have a limited amount of energy and time and focus. So that makes me feel better.
Wait.
Yeah.
The Energizer Bunny just said we all have a limited amount of energy. I've never seen you low on energy.
Oh,
ever.
well, that's because when I leave here, I go and I crash.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is that I will give and pour and do, and then I'll go home and the people I love are not getting the best of me.
Right.
And it makes me feel badly.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I've identified is that a lot of the time I am seeking when I'm away from my work and the ministry, I'm seeking my own pleasure. Like I'm like, okay, now I've done that, and now I'm going to go do the things that I want to do. And then anytime that anything is asked of me that's not what I wanted to do, like reading a book or watching Chopped or going for a run or a walk or something, I resent it. And so I have to change the way I'm thinking in order to be more open to things that I don't choose to do.
Let me ask you this, and this may be not where we want to go with this, and if it is, y'all stop me, but you're doing a lot of hard work right now.
Yeah.
Like you're inspiring me to because it seems to me that you are really examining things in your life and like wanting to move forward and make some positive steps in the right direction. So, I mean, that's inspiring.
Thank you.
I mean, you really are doing, because we've had conversations a lot around, how you're thinking. And I just see you working really hard at being the best that you can be. And I admire that.
Well,
I know.
thank you.
I got home last night and I was like, oh, I need to be like Tricia. She's been reading the book and doing the workbook.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I'm on page 5 of the same book that I'm super excited about. And it's a great book and I need to read it. But I just couldn't open it last night.
I reached a low point. And part of it was I realized I don't want to be with my family. Isn't that awful? I want to be in my bedroom reading my book by myself instead of playing this board game with my family. And or taking a walk with the dog and the family. And it made me feel so badly that I'm like, I have to change something. I can't just retreat, be by myself. I have to figure out what's going on. And I did. I started this book, and I have been very protective about my time with God every morning. And I'm trying to do hard work to figure out. But it's because I reached a low point. And because I felt bad.
Well, but I see, here's my thing. I mean, I think a lot of us know we have those things in our lives. But a lot of us aren't. We either covered up with busyness or we covered up with something else because we don't want to do the hard work of dealing with it and calling ourselves on it. And I think that's one of the reasons this podcast is so, or as popular as it is. Because we're willing to say things that you don't have to look at us when we say them. For each other we do, but there's an accountability here that people are like, I'm not going for that. And I think that a lot of us know something needs to change, but a lot of us aren't taking the step to do that. And so that's what I think is so powerful.
I think too right now is like, I don't think you should feel bad. That, I think it's good that you're examining it.
Yeah.
But one, we do need our own time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out how do we fit ourselves in and prioritize that time but still yet have time to want. And I think the difference maybe is the want. Do you want to do these other things or not? It's so that you're not forcing yourself to do it. But with this quarantine time, we've got all these other emotions sitting on our shoulders every day. And every couple of weeks, it's a new problem that we're waiting for the answer. Is school going to open?
Yeah.
Is, our restaurants, or all this stuff. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in the fall? It's a continual pressure. And I think that's making it harder for us to examine our own thoughts and figure out what's important. And it's just more like mental clutter that we have to get through to get to those emotions and to figure things out.
Yeah. I had a success with that just 2 days ago.
Let's hear it.
Can I be real honest?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm concerned about who's going to hear this. So I have been, my husband and I have not had a lot of connection time. It hasn't been enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we need to do this and we need to do that, but it hasn't been like fun.
Yeah.
And I've been praying, God, please let us have some fun. Let us connect. Let it be a good time. And I realized that when he would come to me after like a long day, we'd be sitting at dinner and he would start to tell me about his work day. I was like, I want to hear this. I want to go do some other stuff. I'm like,
I've been there.
You
I've
pick
been
up
there.
your bootstraps, buddy.
Yeah.
And I realized that was harming our interactions, harming our relationship. It was harming me. And so then God put on my heart to see him more like God sees him. And I prayed about that. And let me have your eyes, God, to see him. And then all of a sudden, I took this time and I said, hey, tell me about your day. And we sat and we talked on the deck. And I listened and I gave him my full attention. And I asked God to give me the desire to care. Isn't that awful to have to do that?
It's not.
I think it's real.
True, Tricia. I've had the exact same thought.
You have?
I've had that. Like I could be telling your story right now.
Okay.
And he starts
works.
talking, and I'm like, this is not really what I want to hear right now. That's right. But I need to pay
he
attention.
needs to hear it.
Yes, it's very important.
So when I prayed that prayer, God answered it the way he does. And I cared about what he was saying, and I gave him my attention. And I want you to know, it meant the world to him. He said to me, that was the best conversation we've had in so long.
Wow.
Thank you. And his response then gave him the desire to hear from me. And so not only did he get to share his heart, I got to share my heart. And it came because God gave me the desire to hear him and listen and care about him. I wish it was not like that always, but God answers our prayers.
That's the truth.
It is.
It's just,
Even for somebody like me who doesn't have a spouse, it's tough for me to do that with my kid, and it's tough to do that with friends. It's tough to do that. I mean, there's so much going on. Can I just be brutally honest?
Please.
So that since you have, I got my feelings hurt yesterday because my mom has dementia, and she didn't remember it was my birthday. And it just...
Oh.
I mean, it wasn't even, I got to talk to her and she's healthy and she's great, but it just was another one of those losses.
Yeah.
And it was very
huge.
selfish of me, but it was like.
But it's your mom.
I know.
You're gonna feel that
I know.
way.
So I feel that, I mean, in those relationships, sometimes you can get focused on what you need and what you want from that relationship and how you interact with people. And that's what I admire so much about you, is that you're always looking for ways to serve others, and you're looking for ways for God to work in your heart, and you're open to that. And so many times, I mean, like last night, I was just like, whatever, and then I have a teenager who could care less that it's my birthday, and we have a long day at work, and then I go home, and she was like, happy birthday, and she forgot until my friend texted her and told her to text me, and then she went upstairs, and she was staying the night with someone that night, and she was like, I've got to repack. And I said, okay. Well, an hour passed, and she's still upstairs, and I'm like, here I sit with a dog in my lap. This is a great life I'm living here, living the dream. Here I am. And so I had this whole big old pity party because, like, I just felt so alone in that moment,
I think everybody's needy right now, too. We all need. There's not the hugs. There's not the gather. Like, everything's just different.
Yeah.
And I feel like emotionally, there's just a little bit of a depletion, and we all need a little more.
Well, we would have taken you out for
love.
your birthday had it
Right.
not been a quarantine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It would have been different.
Yeah.
And everybody that's had an anniversary, a birthday, or some special occasion, graduation, we're all having to adjust our expectations, and there's mourning there.
Yes.
And do you know what? It just dawned on me that, y'all know how much I love to write and journal. I've
Yeah.
not journaled one page since this entire
Are you
quarantine.
kidding?
No. I think it's because, I think this is what it is, honestly, now that we're having this conversation. I think it's that I don't want people to know how I'm feeling. Like I'm, like you felt, like you're
Yeah.
almost embarrassed that you feel that way.
Yeah.
But that's
Like
what
you're
I'm
ashamed of
saying. I
that.
think everybody is feeling this way.
Right. Maybe
I
so.
think we're all talking about it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the women I've been talking to, they're all stressed out. There's anxiety underneath. I just read some post about this woman. She's like, my family got a hot meal tonight. I did this great thing for my husband. I've got a cheery face on, but underneath I'm suffering. I've got anxiety and I'm stressed out, and she has all these things going on in her life, but she's not showing it on the outside.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I just feel like the majority of women right now have a lot of stress and a lot of pressure and just all these crazy emotions. And
Maybe you're right.
And
Coping skills pushed to the max.
yeah.
It's identifying
we've-
our holes in our armor.
Yeah, it's like a time we've never been through. And
Yeah.
so emotionally, we don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what creates for me the desire to go in my bedroom and read a book about somebody else's life.
That's what we were talking about the other
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Well, I was at a time at the beginning of the quarantine where I couldn't read a book. I'm like, my mind was just racing and I couldn't
Oh, yeah.
concentrate on a
Yeah.
book. And now that summer's here, I've been reading some summer books and
Light ones.
yes, light,
Yeah.
you know,
Not me.
their
Go straight
troubles-
for the tragedy.
Well,
Give
yeah,
me
she's
some
been
tragic
tragic.
story. I love them.
I'm reading the Mitford series. I'm just living in Mitford right now, okay? It's so
That's-
sweet.
You know, that's what I needed something light, someone
Yeah.
else's
Yeah.
life to live, not my own right now. And
Yeah.
that has been a real joy
Right.
of like, okay, I can relax. It's not, summer's not the same, but at least I can be at the beach virtually through
Right.
someone else at their cottage.
Right. So I guess my question is, and I don't know that we've landed on any really good answers yet, but maybe you girls have. So how do we get there? I mean, we've talked about this in a lot of different ways, and I don't think any of us expected to end up at this place when we said I used to be fun. But how do we recapture that?
Well, I don't know the answer, number one. But number two, my first thought is we have to take care of ourselves enough that then we can be able to take care of the other people. And when I say take care of them, I also mean have fun with them. I mean, interact with them, our children, our spouse, if we have one, our friends. But we can't do it. I think it's what we've identified is we can't do it if we're overwhelmed, if we're
That's the first
overstressed and
step. You have
undercared
to.
for.
I also heard of a couple of people who are, like there's someone I know that's a freelancer and so is at home with her kids all the time. She's like, I'm trying to do one activity with my kids a day.
Oh,
'Cause
that's a
she's
good
like,
goal.
I
That's a good
have
goal.
to work.
That is.
But like I'll stop and I'll do a puzzle or we'll color. Just she's like one thing. That's I'm not doing this huge thing, just one thing. And someone else is like they're planning a meal every Friday. So they have like a themed meal on Friday. So they have
Cool.
they can do a little bit every day or something and the kids look forward to it. So it's not a huge thing, but it's one
Something.
it's one thing. And that kind of maybe checks off the, it's a little bit of fun. They get some time with us. We can say we want to have fun with them too.
Sure.
But then it still leaves maybe time for us.
It's doable.
And like the pie in the face where we started this whole madness at, that took like 5 minutes.
Right.
Like literally, like I bought the whipped cream at the store, the fun squirty kind. And then we squirted it in our mouths after the pie was done. That was the most
Sounding better and better.
and that was like, it took like 5 minutes out of my day, and it is something that she'll never forget. I told her, I showed her the picture the day, and she was like, "That was so fun."
Okay, I dare us to do it. I dare us to do
goodness.
it. Yes,
Okay.
and send pictures in.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we do it?
Our
a
one-
pie with
A
the stuff?
pie?
Pie?
We're
Yeah.
gonna do the pie.
Why not?
Okay.
Or water balloon or something like
I'll
that.
do
It's
the
something fun.
I'll do it.
Okay, I'll
So,
do it.
Okay, you in?
Yep. I gotta go
I
get
most-
some more
I
whipped
mostly
cream.
want to see Alicia. 'Cause
Yeah, me too.
you and me, we do stuff like that all the time. But Alicia,
Lisha.
I get it.
your kids are gonna be going, "What has
I
happened
know,
to my
like,
mother?"
Carol and Tricia said, "What?"
This has been fun.
Yeah, it
this
has been.
has been fun.
It is.
it-
This is, you know.
And I think this is part of us working through this together is what this is all about, you know, and figuring things out together. And now more than ever before, we need each other. Yes. And I think that's what's so powerful about this community. So you're welcome to get in touch. I say this multiple times, but anytime you send us an email, we like send it around to everybody we know. You know, we keep it in a book and we like look back on it on days that we get discouraged. And so we would love to hear from you. You can email us at girltalk@thelightfm.org. You're also welcome to join the Facebook page, and we're going to be interacting there. So maybe we'll even post our pictures of being fun on the girlfriends page on the Facebook page. But the most important thing is know that you're loved. We so value your friendship and your part in this podcast, and we couldn't do it without your help. So we'll see you next time we gather around these microphones for the next Girl Talk podcast.